facilitators for today's mindfulness experience are Dr. Mikhail Misha Kogan. We all know him pretty well. He's the founder and executive director of AIM Health Institute and medical director of the GW Center for Integrative Medicine. We also have James Foulkes, who is the integrated wellness specialist, Qigong master, and author of Principles and Themes in Yoga Therapy, an introduction to mind-body yoga therapeutics. He uses craniosacral therapy, yoga therapy, martial arts, and more to help people find optimal health. He studied CST with the Upledger Institute, sorry, I butchered that one, the Milne Institute, Roger Gilchrist, and others. So we are really excited to have both of you. I will go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Kogan to get started.
Okay, I'm gonna try to speak slowly, and you guys please let me know if connection is a problem. I'm not at home, and the connection here has been a little spotty. So today I want to talk about two specific topics. So the first one is a kind of a significant positive news in case any of us do get infected with COVID, and I'm waiting for the link to the study that I'm going to discuss come into my own message, which I sent it, but I don't see the link just yet due to slow connection. So this is a Spanish study, and they used an active form of vitamin D, which only available by prescription in the United States. It's not a D3, it's an even more active form. And they used a low dose of it, relatively speaking, administered at day 1, 3, 7, and then weekly. And they have completely arrested all the mortality and all the ICU admissions. So all of the patients in the study, and they had 50 patients in the active group and 25 in control. In the control group, they had 2 deaths and 11 ICU admissions, with average stay in ICU over 4 weeks. And in the treatment group, they had 1 ICU admission that was released after 1 week, and average spend in the hospital was less than 2 weeks, and no deaths at all. So the significance of the study is pretty dramatic. If this is indeed correct, there are 2 main points. One, it's very consistent. Am I okay sound-wise so far? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, you're good.
So the first, it's very consistent with the previous data stating that patients with low vitamin D levels tend to have much more severe illness. It's also quite important because the form of vitamin D that they used in this study was very smartly thought through. Instead of using common form D3, which takes about a week to get converted to an active form, they use something called calcifidiol, which is the form that is activated by the kidneys. And it is available in Europe apparently without prescription as a supplement, but not in US. And they used doses that were administered on a not even on daily basis. It's a very trivial dose per se. The first dose was equal to 20,000 units. The following doses were equal to 10,000 units of vitamin D3, since that's what we usually have our patients take in state. And so what do I take out of this? Well, first of all, if I were an ICU attending, I think I would put all my patients on this form. And God forbid any of you get admitted, you can definitely request this. This would be no big deal at all. And as soon as I get the link of the study, I will put it in the message box in the chat. And that's one important point. The second, I think, in view of this study, now I will absolutely pretty much for all of my patients make sure that everybody's vitamin D level is above 40. I will make sure that anybody under that level will be supplemented accordingly, at least until the pandemic passes, or until we see a different type of data come from our own country saying something differently. But for now, this study to me is good enough. It's a double-blind, randomized, it's a gold standard trial. the patients in this trial were borderline deficient, which is very consistent with our own US population. On average, their level was close to 30. So again, I'm extreme level about 40, and I understand that that's not necessarily the correct thing to do, but I think it's the best I can do given this data and given the fact that observational studies confirm that low levels tend to increase risk. Whether that's causality or not, I guess only more studies will show. So that's first. And so what I'm saying to all of you is, if you have not had your vitamin D level checked, now is a good time. Make sure if you have it checked, then it's about 40. If you
You're breaking up now, Misha.
want to get it checked, which I may understand, that's fine, but then you probably should figure out what the...
We didn't hear any of your recommendations after you said
Remember,
your blood levels above
sun
40.
is not always the only solution. Quite often, oh, I'm sorry, is that better?
Okay. Yes, and you're better now.
How about, let's see if I can do something about it. All right. Okay. So if you don't have, if you do not know your level in that, okay, if you do not know your vitamin D level, I probably would make sure that we all take at least 2,000 units for now. And, you know, that's a pretty safe dose. Usually people need more, but in the absence of level, I think 2,000 to 4,000 units is a typical safe range of maximum dose that I would recommend. But again, if you can have your provider get your vitamin D level tested, do so. So that's topic number one, positive topic. I probably should have switched them. Negative topic should have went first. So the negative topic, it's not necessarily, it's a more philosophical point. I've read yet another article, I think in New York Times, highlighting the fact that we basically failed as the society, our older adults, in COVID, because basically over 90% of patients who passed from COVID are actually patients over 50, and more than 50% or more than 65, and nearly 50% of those, my sound okay? I get, okay.
Yeah,
and
good.
nearly 50% of all patients who passed from COVID in US are from some form of retirement
breaking up again.
communities, either nursing homes, assisted living facilities, or other types of living.
We can't hear you at all, Misha. I don't know if you can hear us.
Okay, is better now?
It is better now.
What can I do? I am so sorry about that. Trying my best. Okay, is it better now?
Yes, you sound good now.
Sort of. Okay. I can hear you. Okay, so nearly 50% of all deaths are from group or nursing homes, and it was, yeah, good. It's better, and it was completely avoidable and should have been our goal from early day of pandemic. And the article I read was basically stating that we failed as a society completely our older adults population who were residing in a group home, a nursing home. And I think from now going forward, we have a societal responsibility to take those responsible to the fact that they failed to provide adequate self-quarantine and adequate treatment. I don't know if it's going to be possible. I don't know if it's something that there is a political will for, but you know, I've read several articles stating that Sweden have profusely apologized for all of their older adult population. They're literally going after with a criminal prosecution of people responsible. I don't think it's going to happen in America. I think it's all, we're going to close eyes to the fact that, you know, this was not handled, not just not handled well, but it was, they knew what was happening and nothing was done about it. And I think that's really, every nursing home was left to their own accord, literally. So, yeah. And, you know, it took months before states started to support nursing homes. And that was completely and utterly crazy. So with that, I'll turn to questions, and we'll take about maybe, you know, close to 10 minutes to do so. I think there was a question before I got kicked out.
Okay,
connection
Misha.
about safe to walk with someone who was infected 2 months ago and recovered. Most likely the answer is yes. If you're concerned, have that person get tested, but practically that person is self-quarantined. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to leave and come back to see if that helps.
So while he is stepping out as a vitamin D expert, I can step in for some of the vitamin D questions. I would agree with Dr. Kogan's recommendation of 2,000 IU is a very safe amount. You could take it with your breakfast if you're having some nuts or some butter, anything with a little bit of fat in it, that really helps. He did mention you could take up to 2,000 a day, or up to 4,000 a day, I'm sorry. And that is also generally considered pretty safe. But you may not need that, and that's why he's recommending that you go get your blood tested, because that's really the only way to know how much you should be taking, is to seeing what your blood level is, adding a supplement, seeing if it goes up enough, or adjusting. That's really the only way to treat vitamin D. So I know it's not ideal, but it's really what needs to be done. But if you want to just take one now when you can't get tested, I think the 2,000 international unit recommendation is very good. I would also say make sure it's vitamin D3, not D2. D2 is not as effective. It can actually mask deficiency. So we don't want to take vitamin D2. Doses for children, that's a little bit more, it's tough because we really should have a dosage based on per kilogram or per pound, but we don't have that. And part of the reason is because we try to get the right amount to get you to a certain blood level. So with your child, I would generally say it depends on how heavy they are. If it's a 65-pound child, probably 1,000 international units, roughly half of what the average adult would take, would be fine. Anything from 600 to 1,000 is definitely going to be safe and helpful. Above that, it's a little difficult to say. And again, testing would be the best way. So vitamin D deficiency, why does it cause fatigue? That's a great question. So vitamin D is a hormone, so it stimulates all sorts of things all over your body. It actually changes the way your genes are expressed. So it does all sorts of things, and it actually acts a little bit different in each person. And part of that is because it acts on the immune system, and each person's immune system is a little bit different. So if you're having a lot of fatigue when you notice your vitamin D is going down, that may be something that's a little bit unique to you. Not everyone experiences that. Can you have too high a vitamin D blood level? Yes, you know, you can have too much of anything, right? Too much water isn't good for you. But the nice thing about vitamin D is it's really hard to get to that level. Your body has 4 different ways of getting rid of extra amounts of it, so it's hard to overwhelm all 4 of those different pathways of elimination. That being said, there has been some documented vitamin D toxicity, but it's only been when the manufacturer messed up. So rather than you getting 2,000 IU in your bottle, they accidentally put 200,000 IU in there. And so you take that for several months, you're gonna have too much vitamin D. But to just go and get a supplement that is in the normal range, 2,000, 4,000 IU, you shouldn't have any issues. And that would remind you about getting a high quality supplement. For vitamin D, luckily, you can just look for the USP seal, the USP, the US Pharmacopoeia, and they actually test each supplement to make sure it contains what they say it contains. So you're not going to get that massive amount of vitamin D that will make you sick. Another one you can look for is CL. It'll have a little label that says CL, and that's Consumer Labs. They do the same thing. They test each supplement to make sure it has what it's supposed to have in there. So you can get a prescription for the activated vitamin D that was used in the European study in the US. It's just only available by prescription. Whereas in Europe, you can just go to a supplement store and buy it. So, but if you need it, if you get hospitalized for COVID, you will be able to get it. So hopefully that will calm you a little bit knowing that it's there. So someone here that actually had vitamin D toxicity. That's actually something to brag about, I think. That's a rare thing. So it is possible, but highly unlikely. I don't know that Dr. Kogan is making it back at this point. So maybe we should just progress to James to do the Qigong. And if he hops back on, that we can take more questions at the end. Does D3 help prevent COVID? I'll take that question quickly before we switch over. There is some research showing it may help prevent COVID in the fact that it supports your immune system. So if you have like a small exposure to just a few virus particles, you may be able to fight that off. But there's not a lot of data to support that. And it's more general information, just knowing what vitamin D does with other viruses as opposed to COVID. So it's good to have enough vitamin D, but it's really interesting to see this study where it's actually being used as a treatment, as a therapy, to help support your body heal itself. Oh, yay, Dr. Kogan is back. We can't hear you though. It looks like you're unmuted. I can't hear you, Misha. All right, I think we should maybe try and do some technical troubleshooting and just move on. So James, I'm going to throw it over to you for the Qigong, and we can come back to any additional questions at that point.
Okay, so
thank you.
Probably what I'll do is I'll just I'll leave a few minutes at the end if people have further questions on the original information. For those of you that are going to practice with me today, I invite you to make sure that your space is clear so that you can move. I'd recommend that you can, we're going to be doing standing work today. And I'm going to suggest that you have some water on hand so that you're well hydrated. If you've got any kind of medical conditions, I would work gently, and if at any point you feel unwell, then just stop. Qigong is a practice that works with both the physical and the energetic aspects of our being, and so it's important that you just really monitor yourself as you explore today. There's a little bit of an introduction earlier about me, and so you've got a sense of what it is that I do. I work in different disciplines, and if you have any further questions on that, then you can email me directly. You can find me at jamesfoulkes@hotmail.com. I'll get someone to put that in the comments later. Let's see. So we're going to do something called the 8 Silk Brocade today, which is a Qigong set that is very powerful. And just a couple of principles that I'm going to be looking for you to maintain throughout. So we're going to be moving with the arms primarily, and also with the spine, a little bit with the knees. I'm going to ask you to maintain the tongue on the roof of your mouth throughout the practice, okay? So as we work, you're going to place the tongue very lightly on the top of onto the hard palate. This completes what's called the microcosmic orbit, which is a circuit that runs up the back of the body and down the front of the body. So you're lightly going to maintain the tongue on the roof of the mouth beforehand. Now, this microcosmic orbit is foundational in Chinese medicine, and it's basically, for those of you in Washington, D.C., welcome back, Misha. For those of you in Washington, D.C., the circulation of the energy around the middle of the body is really like the 495 of the body. It's keeping the flow of energy around the whole system. So by placing the tongue on the roof of the mouth, you create that link. I'm just gonna make sure you pin me in the middle of the screen so any of the sound doesn't kind of take you off. And the way that we express the microcosmic orbit is if we have our feet together and we're gonna lift the arms up towards the ceiling, and then you're gonna put the fingertips together, so just the tips of the fingers, and then you're gonna bring the hands down the front of the body, all the way down towards your lower belly, okay? So inhale, bring the arms up, tongue on the roof of the mouth, and exhale, lowering slowly down the front. So your exhalation coordinates with the lowering of the arms. Let's do that one more time. We do this in groups of 3. This is called Wuji Wan Qi Fa. We're going to do this in between each of our main movements in the 8 silk brocade. So lowering down. Good. Let's step out to shoulder level. So your feet are about shoulder width, knees slightly bent. First movement in the 8 silk brocade is to have your hands just up above your head as if you're opening a tall window, and your knees are slightly bent. And then you're going to lift up with the arms and lift onto the balls of the feet. Okay? Now just start slowly with this so you don't strain your shoulders. So inhale and then exhale onto the balls of the feet, gently stretching up. So let's try this a couple of times. Inhale, exhale. So kind of imagine an accordion gathering in towards the center, and then exhale, moving away from the center. And as you get more comfortable with the movement, you can invite your elbows to straighten a little more and allow your shoulder girdle to open. Now, find your own rhythm with this. So don't worry about my speed. Find your breath. Inhale and exhale. Let's do 2 more of these. So the 8 silk brocade is 8 movements, 8 times. But we're going to add, let's do 1 more here. We're going to add this Wuji Wan Qi Fa movement to activate, let's lower the arms down, to activate the microcosmic orbit in between each movement. So feet together again. Notice how your shoulders feel, shoulders nice and relaxed. Inhale, arms up. Fingertips touch, and exhale again down the front of the body. Swallowing as the hands pass the face. So you feel the fluid movement through the throat, down into the digestive system, matching your movements to your breath. So you can feel that physical dropping of the saliva. Do 1 more, inhaling up, and exhale gently back down. Hands coming all the way down, past the lower belly, past the navel, good. And then step back out the shoulder width. Second movement here, it's called the archer. You're going to take one hand, you're going to make a kind of a claw, and then the other hand you're going to stretch across. Okay, so with this second hand you've got this action. Okay, so feet are shoulder width, and you're going to sit back and draw back. Okay, now we start this movement by gathering, inhale, and then other side, so claw and 2 fingers. It's called the archer. Now, in this kind of setting, the main thing is your intention. You want to gently stretch through the ligaments of the arms, elbow level with the hand. So elbow of one hand level with the hand of the other. Inhale to center, and exhale across to the other side, looking towards your hand like an archer drawing back their bowstring. Let's keep going with this. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale Exhale. Now, you don't want to make it too hard, so it's like a soft, elastic feeling through the shoulders and the arms. One more on each side. Good. And last one. Drawing back. Good. Then feet back to center again. Let's come back to our Wuju One Chi Fa movement. So arms up, inhale, tongue on the roof of the mouth, and exhale down the front of the body. Shoulders relax. Visualize that movement up the back of your body, over your head, and down your front as you lift the arms. So this movement of the arms is an external expression of this microcosmic orbit, this 495 of the body. And last one, inhaling up. And exhale down. So you want to time your movements with your breathing in the moving aspects of our Qigong. Good. And then step back out again. So we've done the first two movements there. The next movement, we use this gesture of the hands, creating a triangle between the index fingers and the thumbs. So we start with the hands in front of us, similar to how we had them before, but this is called looking for the moon. You're going to turn and flip your palms up as you look through your hands. And then back to center, and then try the other side. So without straining, turn and look up between your hands. Good. Back to center so the palms face you, and then across to the other side. So your palms flip away from you as you look up towards the moon. Back to center. Turning. So don't pull aggressively on the spine, soft turn. Let's keep going with this. Back to center, palms face you, and then turn. Hands in, rotate. Let's do one more on each side. Shoulders relax, breathing. Back to center, turning, and then turn back to the midline, feet back together, and once again, Wuju One Chi Fa. So arms up. And we want to have this sense that as we're flowing through the movements here, there's an unbroken stream of movement and breath. This is what starts to create this powerful, soft exercise that's used throughout the Chinese healing arts. So it's almost like pearls on a necklace. Each movement is an individual pearl, and they're all kind of woven together through the whole necklace. Lowering the hands back down, and then stepping back out to shoulder width. So we've done 3 of the 4 movements. 3 of the first 4 movements. There's 8 in total. Now, next one, we bring the hands into center, same as we did before, with the hands away from the body. This time, bring the hands close as if you're condensing a ball in front of you. Then you're going to take one palm up, one palm down, and split that ball as you come onto the balls of the feet. So one palm presses down, other palm presses up, come onto the toes. Good. Back to center. So inhale, gather, condense, split, opposite hands this time, and distribute. So you're starting to work with the left and the right side of the body, so you're asymmetrical. Again, inhale, gather, condense, split, and distribute. Come onto the balls of the feet as you stretch. Good. Let's keep going with that. Inhale, gathering in, split, and exhale. Again, you're not overstretching. You want this feeling of elasticity. Let's do 2 more on each side. Inhale and exhale. Smile and breathe. Let the movement be easy and relaxing. Hands in, knees slightly bent, and then onto the balls of the feet and stretch the legs. One palm down, one palm up. 1 more on each side. Inhale, gather, condense, split, and distribute. So we're moving energy through the meridians with our movements. Inhale, split, and distribute. Good. And then release, feet back to center. Ujjayi Chifa, arms up. Fingertips touch at the top. Exhale, lowering the hands down. Take a moment to swallow as the hands pass the face. So again, you can feel that movement of physical matter as well as energy sliding down. Inhale and exhale. Shoulders relax. Focus gently on what you're doing. So you don't need to be thinking, just focus on what you can feel. Exhale, slowly lowering down. So we've done half of this mini sequence, the 8 Silkicade. We've done the first 4. Step back out to shoulder width. Just loosen your shoulders a little bit, make sure you're comfortable. The next movement is a side bend. So you're going to take one of your arms high up and over. And then you're going to inhale back to center and exhale, go the other way. So very easy movement, this one. Again, don't stretch too hard. As you can see, we're combining movement with breath. So this is a wonderful practice to support respiratory health. So easy movement. Inhale to center. Exhale up and over. Let's keep going. 2 more on each side. Take your time. Find your own breathing rhythm to determine your own moving rhythm. Your movements follow your breath. 1 more on each side. Exhale across. Inhale back to center. And exhale. Good. Lower the arms down. Feet back to center. Ujjayi Chifa again. Fingertips up. Touch at the top. Exhale gently down the front of the body. Swallowing. Good. 2 more of those. Take your time. So as we get into the practice, you can begin to feel movement and aliveness and flow throughout the body. And this sequence was actually developed by a military general more than 1,000 years ago to support his troops as they were walking many, many miles a day with very little food. So this was their energy for the day, back out to shoulder width. Now, for the next one, you're going to take the thumb and place it on the base of the ring finger, okay, on each side. And then you're going to close your fists around your thumbs, put your hands on your hips, bend the knees a little bit more deeply this time. And then you're going to inhale, reach out with the arm, and then twist the hand, bring it back in towards the center. Very simple. So inhale, hand out. Exhale, twist the wrist, bring the hand back in. Let's keep going with that. So inhale, deep breath, twist the wrist, bring it back towards the hip. Again. Twisting the wrist, bring it back towards the hip. Let's do 2 more on each side. Inhale and exhale. So again, you're looking at timing. You can sit a little lower with this one. Let the back of the waist lengthen so you're dropping your tail. 1 more on each side. This works with what's called the triple heater, which is a non-physical organ in the Chinese medicine system. Good. Feet together. Ujjayi Chifa. So arms back up. And exhale. Keep that flow. Hands lowering back down again. So arms up. Exhale. Soften. Swallow. Good. 1 more. So that's movement 6 of 8. We've got 2 major movements left. This is our intermediary movement. Come back out to shoulder width with the feet. The next one is called swimming in the lake. You take both arms up and over and then lower the arms down the front, bending the knees. Okay, so let's try that 8 times. So arms up, almost like a butterfly stroke. in swimming. Lower the hands down, soften the knees. So you keep the heels down for this one. Straighten the legs as the arms lift. Lower the hands as the arms sink. So nice deep breaths, inhaling and exhale. So what these movements do is they access different parts of the body. As you explore the different movements, they awaken different meridians and energy patterns within the living system. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's do 2 more of these. Keep the arms relatively straight if it feels comfortable for your shoulders. If your shoulders are a little tight, you can make the movement a little bit smaller. So last one, inhaling up and exhale gently back down. Very good. Feet together. Ujjayi Shifa 3 times. Arms up. Fingertips touch. Exhale down the front. Swallowing again as the hands pass the face. 2 more. Breathing in. So you really start to feel that your breath is driving your movement. Okay, last movement of this particular mini sequence. We're going to make soft fists and place them on the kidney area. Okay? And then what you're going to do here is you're going to bounce your knees and rub up and down the kidney region. So keep your shoulders nice and relaxed and bounce the knees and massage the kidneys with the back of the fists. And you can lean forward slightly and look down to get your lower back to protrude out slightly. And just nice, big, deep, normal breaths here. The kidneys are like the batteries of the body. Where we go for sustained action, they link to the adrenal function, which is this kind of stimulating component of our energy system. Where we go to when we're tired, we tend to, in our culture, run on adrenaline a little bit. So just sliding up and down. Now keep going with it. Keep bouncing the knees. Wake up the kidneys. Let's do 2 more deep breaths here. Good, and then lower the arms down. Feet together again. Ujjayi Shifa, arms back up. Notice any subtle sensations that you're aware of in your body now. You may feel tingling. You may feel heat. Nice deep breaths. Arms up. Exhale, softly lower down. Hands back down towards the belly. And last one. And just to seal this whole series in, we're going to make this mudra or gesture down at the belly. Gentlemen, right hand outside. Ladies, left hand outside. Non-binary, you can just place your hands in the center. So ladies, left hand on the outside. Gentlemen, right hand on the outside. And then just put the hands on the lower belly. And then just settle for a moment. Soften your eyes. And just feel the effects of the practice on your being. Elbows and shoulders relaxed. So soften your elbows and your shoulders. And just tune into yourself for several deep breaths. Notice what stands out in your awareness. Maybe you can feel heat or tingling or buzzing sensations, or maybe something else. Okay, now we've still got plenty of time. I wanted to give you that little sequence because it's quite discreet. There were 8 movements in it. We integrated a movement throughout that kind of helped the energies to flow through the whole circuit. But we're going to do a little bit of another practice now that comes from a different kind of Qigong. So we're going to start with the feet together for this one. And this is basically going to take all of the energy that we've basically cultivated in the last one and then distribute it around the body. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to step out to shoulder width. And then you're going to lift your arms up towards the ceiling and out to the sides. Come onto the balls of the feet. So you're kind of balancing, and then visualize all of your joints opening. So opening the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, all of the vertebrae, the hips, the knees. Now we're going to lower ourselves down. Now only go as low as you can comfortably. If you're comfortable, you can bend the knees a lot. If you're not, then don't go too low. And then little jump, and then we're going to shake. We're going to shake the body open. Now what the shaking does is it basically vibrates throughout the living system. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of your body from a shaking perspective. And it's going to help to really shift any blocks of energy that you identified through our 8 Silbricade. So let's start with the fingers, wake up the fingers and the thumbs, get all the joints of the hands moving. Keep shaking going, and then into the wrist joints, different kinds of movements of the wrists. Gently does it. Now you know your body, you know the areas you need to take care of. If you've got something happening in your body that requires additional care, then please be attentive to that. Let's come into the elbow joints. So keep the arms, upper arm still, and just move the lower arm. So the elbow and the rotational aspect of the forearm. Good, and then release, and let's circle the shoulders. So I'm taking my elbows up and back. Now take your time and feel your body. So just bouncing gently from one foot to another. You can have one heel down as you shake, and then the other heel down, so you're kind of vibrating through the body. And let's circle into the neck a little bit. So small movements of the neck. Necks can get stiff under stress and pressure, particularly in 2020. Good. And then let's take the arms out to the side, still gently shaking and bouncing through the legs to wake up the heart and the lungs. So visualize as you stretch the arms out, palms face up, that your lungs and heart are beginning to kind of vibrate and shake. So you're bouncing your knees a little bit. Good, and then release the arms down. And we're going to wake up the belly area, tapping into your abdomen gently. It's a sticky tap, so it draws away from the center. And you can just work through the whole of your abdomen. So if you lean towards the left, you connect with your liver. If you lean towards the right, you connect with your stomach. And then you've got your intestines in the middle, down towards your bladder. Crisscross the hands, wake up the belly, and then come towards your hips and drawing out away from the hips a little bit. And then you can come round to your lower back, similar to the end of the 8 Silbricade. Wake up your kidneys again, down towards your lower back. Gentle vibration. Deep breaths. So just stimulating that whole kidney lower back region right down towards your sacrum. Good. And then from there, we're going to shape the spine. So we're going to shape the spine in several ways. One with a gentle turn of the spine. So let this movement be small and easy. You can turn your head slightly as you do this. Breathing deeply through the nose. Tongue on the roof of the mouth. Good. Come back to center. And then what we're going to do from here is roll down through the spine. So head drops, keep the knees bouncing, and then roll down through the back. So you're towards a forward bend and then back up. Head comes up last. Let's do that again. Deep breath. Head leads. Roll down through the spine, bouncing the knees to open the intervertebral discs. And then slowly back up. Good. Now keep the shaking going. The whole of your upper body has been shaken open now. So feel your upper body and feel how alive it feels. So just I'm just bouncing from one side to the other. I've got my whole foot flat on the ground as I shake. And you're just kind of beginning to let all of the stuckness of the body begin to release. We're going to loosen into the hips now. Hands onto the waist, circle the hips. So get your middle to move. Change directions. Relaxing your face and your jaw and your eyes. Good. Okay, from here, if it's comfortable, you can pick up the knee and circle it out. So you're opening a little bit into the hip. So we're going down into the lower body now, opening the legs up. You can pick up the knee a little bit if it feels stiff, and just try and let that hip joint open a little bit. Good. And then from there, just gently shake the knee. So you kind of just soft shake into the knee joints. And then down to the ankle and let your foot waggle. So let your whole foot kind of get loose. Just waggling your foot. And then you can stamp a little bit and wake up the soles of the feet. Good. And then we've worked all the way through the body here. So now 2 minutes on your own, any kind of movement you want, any area of your body that doesn't feel awake yet. So find your breathing rhythm, find your shaking rhythm. What movement does your body instinctively tell you it needs? Deep breaths. Follow your breathing rhythm, follow your shaking rhythm. Unlock your body, letting the chi flow all the way through. One more minute, freestyle shaking, any movement you want to make. Good, and then when you're ready, let's come to stillness. Feet parallel, fingers stretched down, become very, very still, soften your knees, stretch your fingers down lightly, engage your toes onto the ground, feel the residue of the shaking, feel the buzzing, feel the tingling, feel the heat, maybe feel some cold areas. Notice your sensations. Tongue on the roof of the mouth. Feel the effects of the chi beginning to wake up. So as well as all of the physiological changes of fluid flows and muscular shifts, tendon and ligament changes, skeletal changes, you can feel that there's something else here that underpins that. Feet together. Come back to Wujiwan Qifo again. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, down the front of the body. Let's do 3 of these, so 2 more. Find your breathing rhythm. Maybe your breath feels a little bit longer now, perhaps. Doesn't matter if it doesn't, but just notice whether you've freed your respiratory system with our movements this afternoon. Good. And the last thing we're going to do together as part of our little Qigong exploration here today is standing poses. Now, Qigong tends to be a mixture of stillness and movement. We've looked at movement so far. Now we're going to look at stillness. In this first position, the hands face the ground, palms level with the front of the hips, slightly away from the body, knees bent, feet flat to the floor. Now, close your eyes as much as you're comfortable. Now, if you have any kind of balance challenges, just leave your eyes just a little bit open. The rest of you can close your eyes. Let your elbows come slightly wide. Palms facing the ground. This first standing position connects you into the ground through both your feet and your hands. And you might have a tangible sense of something non-physical in the hands. Imagine you're sitting on a tall stool, so just tuck your tail very slightly, as if you're about to perch onto a stool behind you. Deep breaths, shoulders relax. Any tension in the body, try and let it go down into the ground. So like ice that becomes water and drains downhill. So shoulder tension, let go, release down to the feet. Hip tension, lower back tension, let go, down towards the feet. Second position, we've seen this in other parts of our Qigong today. It's called holding the tree, where the palms face you, hands, palms of the hands pointing towards the heart. So you've got a round space. Imagine you're holding a tree trunk. Bend the thumb joint slightly. Just a little bit of a bend in the thumb. Palms face the heart. This is a self-healing position. Visualize energy circling through the arms. So round in a loop. Good. Third position, flip the palms up so the palms are facing the sky, fingers point back towards the eyebrows. This is receiving celestial energy. Sun, moon, and stars. We have these huge energy sources in our universe that are accessible via our living system. We're as much a part of nature as the rivers, the mountains, and the stars. So can we invite a receiving of celestial energy through the palms? Shoulders relax. Deep breath. Good. And then the last position we'll adopt is having the hands on the groins with the thumbs pointing forward. So elbows wide, fingers sort of point down towards the base of the pelvis, and you can rest your little finger onto your hip. And this invites us to open what in Chinese practice they call the qua. The qua is everything between the knee and the solar plexus. So lift up a little bit through your belly, but keep your knees bent. So you have this sense of this connection between knees and diaphragm. And this is the engine of the body, involved in all of our walking and running and sitting. Remember to tuck your tail slightly. Deep breaths. Little finger rests onto the groins, thumbs point forwards, hand is gently open, shoulders relax. Good. And then when you're ready, bring your feet together and arms back up. Wujiwan Chifa. Again, notice what you're noticing. Lower the hands down gently through the front of the body. Swallowing as the hands pass the face. Let's do 2 more of those. Breathe in. Looking up towards your hands as the arms lift. Swallow as the hands pass the face. And again, we'll seal, as we did earlier, after the initial practice. Bringing your hands gently down towards the lower belly area. Ladies, left hand on top. Gentlemen, right hand on top. Non-binary in the center with the tips of the fingers together. And then just close your eyes and seal all that energy in. Notice what you're noticing after the shaking and the standing positions. Okay, well done everybody. We've just got 5 minutes left on our call. Thank you for attending this part today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions for me in relation to the Qigong, as Misha's pointing out, I teach regular classes on Zoom, both Qigong and yoga, if anybody is interested. My email address is jamesfoulkes@hotmail.com. You can also find me on my website, www.jamesfoulkes.com. That's Foulkes. And any questions that remain, I'll pass it over. And if there's anything related to Qigong, please feel free to ask.
Thank you so much. That was really spectacular. I feel amazing. And I'm sure everyone will want the information to follow up and do this again. So we will definitely include that in the email that we send out in follow up so everyone can tune into you on Zoom.
Thank you. If I'm not following the questions in the chat, so if anybody has asked questions about Qigong in the chat, please let me know.
James, there was one question, and I'm so sorry that I finally gotten on a better connection. I just went out.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, well, good. So there was one good question. I think you may want to answer part of it. If you can't do the full sequence, should I just do the part of it? I said, yes, you should, but I don't know if you want to add something to it.
Yeah, no, there's always ways to adjust the movements to accommodate any body or any physical condition. That might take a more tailored approach. So sometimes I do one-on-ones with people so that we can refine the movements for that particular individual. But yeah, you don't need to do 8 of each. We had time today to do the full 8 silk brocades, so I did so. And I hope you sort of realize some of the benefits of that and you could feel how it affected your body and your energy. But yeah, you can always do an abridged version. If you've only got 5 minutes, just doing a few of these Wuji Wan Chi Fas can be very effective. And I hope everybody enjoyed today. So thank you.
There's another question about there are many different styles and what is the difference?
Right, so there are thousands of styles of Qigong from different regions and different families within, mostly in China, but throughout Asia. And they all have a slightly different emphasis and they look at slightly different ways to explore the overall objectives, which is sort of health and awareness and vitality. And basically by practicing a system over a long period of time, you begin to understand the nuances of that particular system. But broadly, they're focusing on the same thing of vibrant health and vitality. So this particular system is one of the common systems that you find throughout China, but there are many regional classes and styles. So, yep.
There's a question about cost of the classes on the Zoom. I guess that's directed to you, your cost.
Yeah, so I do have a regular Thursday morning class, which is at 11 a.m. Eastern time. That class has been going through the COVID period. It's got people from all over America in it and some from Europe. And basically what I do is I do either a drop-in for that, which is $20 a class, or you can pay for a 6-class series and there's a slight discount. So, but I'm also happy to work with people if they've got financial constraints.
Thank you, James, so much. And I think we ran out of time. Those of you who had questions that I couldn't answer today, please, if you guys hold them to next Friday, I promise I'll have a better connection and I'll address them. And everybody have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Janet, Lee, Dr. Frame, guys, any last moment comments or statements? And yes, I absolutely agree. We should have James back in a few months.
I agree with that.
Thank you.
I just let you know that I will be presenting next week. So look forward to more nutrition.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Bye, Janet.
Bye.
See you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.